Hi everybody, today we'll speak about teaching vocabulary. My name is Ш Уалиханова. Teaching vocabulary. The objectives of the lesson: to illustrate the importance of teaching vocabulary, to use techniques of teaching vocabulary, to find out the effective principles and methods of teaching vocabulary. With hundreds of thousands of words in the English language, teaching vocabulary can seem like a very daunting prospect. Remember though that the average native speaker uses around only 5,000 words in everyday speech. Moreover, your students won't need to produce every word they learn. Some they will just need to recognize. Selecting what to teach based on frequency and usefulness to the needs of your particular students is therefore essential. Once you have chosen what to teach, the next important steps are to consider what students need to know about the items and how you can teach them. What a student may need to know about the item. What it means. It is vital to get across the meaning of the item clearly and to ensure that your students have understood correctly with checking questions. The form. Students need to know if it is a verb, a noun, an adjective, to be able to use it effectively. How it is pronounced. This can be particularly problematic for learners of English because there is often no clear relation between how a word is written and how it is pronounced. It's very important to use the phonemic script in such cases so the students have a clear written record of the pronunciation. Don't forget also to drill words that you think will cause pronunciation problems for your students and highlight the word stresses. How it is spelled. This is always difficult in English for the reason mentioned above. Remember to clarify the pronunciation before showing the written form. If it follows any unpredictable grammatical patterns, for example man, or information, and if the word is followed by a particular preposition, for example to depend on. The connotations that the item may have. Bachelor is a neutral positive word, whereas spinster conjures a more negative image. The situations when the word is or is not used. Is it formal, neutral, or informal? For example, spectacles, glasses, or specs. Is it used mainly in speech or in writing? To sum up is usually written, whereas mind you is spoken. Is it outdated, wireless instead of radio? How the word is related to others, for example, synonyms, antonyms, or lexical sets. Collocation, or the way that words occur together. You describe things in great detail, not in big detail. And to ask a question, you raise your hand. You don't lift your hand. It is important to highlight this to students to prevent mistakes in usage later. What the affixes may indicate about the meaning. For example, substandard, sub meaning under. This is particularly useful at a higher level. Which of these areas you choose to highlight will depend on the item you are teaching and the level of your students. Now it's time to think about how we get to the meaning across. Ways to present vocabulary. There are lots of ways of getting across the meaning of a lexical item. The first is illustration. This is very useful for more concrete words, dog, rain, or tall, and for visual learners. It has its limits though, not all items can be drawn. Mime. This lends itself particularly well to action verbs and it can be fun and memorable. Synonyms, antonyms, or gradable items. Using the words a student already knows can be effective for getting meaning across. Definition. Make sure that it's clear. Maybe check in a learner dictionary before the lesson if you are not confident. Remember to ask questions to check they have understood properly. Translation. If you know the student's first language, then it's fast and efficient. Remember that not every word has a direct translation. Context. Think of a clear context when the word is used and either describe it to the students or give them example sentences to clarify meaning further. Again, which you choose will depend on the item you are presenting. Some are more suitable for particular words. Often a combination of techniques can be both helpful and memorable. Alternative ways of teaching vocabulary. Give your students a few items of vocabulary and tell them to find the meaning, pronunciation, and write an example sentence with a word in. They can then teach each other in groups. Alternative ways next. Prepare worksheets and ask your students to match words to definitions. Ask students to classify a group of words into different categories. For example, a list of transport words into air transport, sea transport, or land transport. Ask students to find new vocabulary from reading homework and teach the other students in the class. Other things to consider. Review the vocabulary you teach through a game or activity and encourage your students to do the same at home. Encourage autonomy in your learner. Tell them to read, watch films, listen to songs, and note the useful words. Have a section of your board for vocabulary items that come up as you are teaching. Use different colors for the words, the phonemic, the prepositions, the part of speech. It's a good idea to teach or to learn words with associated meanings together. Encourage your students to purchase a good dictionary and use class time to highlight the benefits of the words. Teach your students to the grammatical names for the parts of speech and phonetic script. Always keep a good dictionary by your side in case a student asks about a word you don't know. If you don't and have never heard of the word, tell the student you will check and get back to them. Do get back to them. Word fact cards. For example, part of speech, interesting facts, syllables. The word doctor. Definition. A person who treats illnesses. Students draw it. I went to the doctor when I was sick. The student. Part of speech. Noun. Interesting fact. Or ending sounds like R. The word has 2 syllables. My doctor gave me a jelly bean after my needle.